And we are back with another episode of ELF Live, episode 7. We've been doing this for 7 weeks straight. Silas, what's up, man? How you doing?
I feel great, man. I feel great. I feel like the show is starting to really catch on. I feel like we're finding ourselves. Roby really brought us to life last week, I think, and I'm excited.
I feel that, man. I think we do got to give a little bit of a shout out to Big Robes. Robes brought some energy. He was a great guest, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He definitely got a lot of attention. He's just got a great personality, man. He has a really good way of like I've never met a guy who could brag on himself without it being like obnoxious.
Exactly. He's able to be like cocky and brag in an endearing way, which is very rare skill. So good job, Big Robes. That was a great episode last week, and then we've got another hopefully great episode for you guys this week. What's up, everybody in the chat? Greetings. Germans love saying greetings, don't they, Silas?
I don't know what it is. This is a funny thing that Germans do, man. They say greetings at the end of a message. I cannot tell you how many messages that I've gotten from a German who, whenever German speaks, you pretty much know they're German, but the message at the end, the salutation or the goodbye of the message is always greetings from Germany.
Greetings. Liebe Grüße. Greetings. And that's just how it is. So greetings, everybody. And we've got a fun show for you today. We've got some interesting guests later on, some coaches, some big-time coaches. But first, I think we should probably just jump into our first segments, the good old weekly signing center. Who signed this week, Silas? Let's talk about it. You want to take us on the first guy here? Guy number one.
What is Jaylen Embry signing with the Madrid Bravos? I feel like the Madrid Bravos have been getting so much attention lately. And my first thought with this is I think these guys just want to go to Spain, man. I think these American players are tired of the cold. They're tired of the German speakers, and they want to go have some fiestas and siestas because no one ever cared to go to Spain 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Before the ELF, nobody was talking about, I'm trying to go play in Spain. Everyone was talking about, I want to play in Germany or Austria. That's pretty much it. Maybe Finland, but no one was going to Spain. And now we see all these guys signing to Madrid. So I'm really curious to see what is in the water in Madrid that everyone is after.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, they're putting together a roster, and I like that point. Like people were not talking about good, high quality, high profile players like this. We're not really talking about going to play in Spain for a long time. And now that there's 2 ELF teams there, and Madrid, they're putting both of their defensive A spots in the backfield because obviously they have Luke Glenna, the safety, as well, and now they've got Jaylen Embry here at corner. So spending both A spots in the defensive backfield, which I think that's probably a smart move. What is your opinion on that? Not to get too caught up on this, but like, where would you spend your 2 A spots on defense?
I would have to pick a defensive line, that would be my first spot. Put a guy who is just going to destroy offensive lines like Kyle Kitchens, right?
True.
In Europe, a really, really good D end could wreak havoc because there aren't a lot of great O-line players in Europe. It's that position is a position that isn't coached super well. Joe, what's his name from Munich? Joe Thomas going to Munich is huge for the offense because from everywhere I've gone, O-line has been like the weakest position. So if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm picking a defensive end that could just cause problems, and then I'm going to get like a safety / corner who can play both.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's good. I think that's smart. You either do defensive line in a DB or 2 DBs. I think it's very rarely smart to pick a linebacker at A. But just a little more about Jaylen. He was a 3-star recruit out of high school. He was invited to Houston Texans rookie mini camp. He played in the spring league and the USFL. So obviously pretty legit experience there. And we'll see what he does in Madrid, man.
Yeah, one last point I want to make is this guy played in Frankfurt in 2022. Yep. He played with the Raiders in 2023. Now, again, 5 years ago, those are two of the best teams in Europe. To go from the Galaxy to the Raiders to a team in Spain 5 years ago would have been like, this guy's ending his career and he's like just done playing.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's not the case, which is pointing to the fact that Europe, like good football is spreading around Europe, which is awesome.
Absolutely. So moving on, we've got another one in the signing center. Our guy, linebacker Fabian Voss.
Fabian Hefeweizen.
Hefeweizen, the German-born linebacker. I think he's from Cologne, and he played Division I college football, which obviously is a huge deal, especially coming from Germany. He's 25 years old, born and raised in Cologne. Started playing football at age 12 for the Cologne Crocodiles, and then he played for the University of Buffalo, Division I school. In 2018 is when he went there, and he joined the Cologne Centurions halfway through the season last year, so he didn't really get a chance to have a full season and put his talents on display, but he's going to the Rhine Fire, one of the best teams in the league, and that's a pretty big-time signing right there.
Yeah, I mean, they already have a crazy linebacker core. They always have, so that's scary. That's scary for some offenses. Then next up, we got wide receiver. Is it Redeem? How do you say that? I guess it's Redeem.
I would say Redeem
Kalous. Redeem Kalous. Now, he's a Czech citizen, so it makes sense why he'd go to Prague. But man, outside looking in, that's a tough step down to go from Vienna to Prague. I feel for the guy, but I'm also inspired by the fact that he wants to support his country.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the thing. Like, it's good when teams can get their homegrown talent like that, but it is a fair point what you said, especially coming from Vienna last year, one of the best run and most organized teams in all of Europe, to a new team or a second-year team, the Prague Lions, which obviously had a lot of trouble last year. But hopefully he can bring some experience and skill to the Prague Lions, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Then we've got another big signing, literally big. I mean, the heaviest player in the ELF. My man, Benur, offensive lineman for the Stuttgart Surge. I got to play with this guy. We played in the GFL for the Unicorns together, and I had to go against him in practice. And he is tough to get around. He is definitely tough to get around.
169
and he's able with the Stuttgart Surge. Yeah, dude. Times that by 2.205 and tell me how many pounds that is.
373. 373.
Big man. That's a big man. Big man. So that's huge for the Surge O-line. He's also just a staple in kind of the Surge culture there and the Stuttgart culture. So big signing for the Stuttgart Surge. So that is what we've got this week for our signing center. Now,
Nick, I got a question for you, Nick.
Sure.
You watched a lot of Stuttgart Surge practices. What is your take on the O-line and the development of offensive linemen in Stuttgart?
I think that they've got a lot of really good offensive linemen. Obviously, you've got like Alessandro Vergani, Lucas Meyer, to name a couple. And they had a really good offensive line coach, especially in the start of the season, Hunter Sims. He's from the States. He's friends with Jordan Newman. They go way back. They went to college together. So he came over and coached the O-line and gave him a lot of really good American coaching. And so I think, I'm pro Surge O-line, I would say. I would say that.
Who do you think has the best O-line in the league?
I mean, I think last year had to be the Rhine Fire, probably, right? They had like three or four first team all-stars on the O-line.
Yeah. And if you just watch Jadrian, I mean, that guy could have made a sandwich and still thrown a touchdown. Like, I would just like stand back there, look around, be like, nah, never mind. You guys go that way. You go that way. Nah, let's change it one more time. Now you go that way and then throw the ball.
It was pretty chill back there for old Dart Clark, our guy. Well, that's our signing center this week, Silas. Just a short one, 4 guys. And I think we're now going to hit a quick little commercial break from our partners at Euronics.
Zu Hause ist immer jemand für dich da. Die Bäckerin, die dir leckere Brötchen gibt. Die Friseurin, die heiße News für dich hat. Der Metzger, dem nichts wurscht ist.
Kein Internet!
Und wir sind immer da, wenn du uns brauchst.
Ich installiere den mal schnell.
Euronics, für dein bestes Zuhause der Welt. Oide, doide, doide, doi.
We got breaking news, guys. We have breaking news. Florian Bierbaumer, the tight end, the young tight end from the Vienna Vikings, he was selected to the NFL IPP, the International Players Program, which is absolutely huge. This is the program that's, excuse me, shining a light on a lot of these international players and giving them chances in the NFL. It's pretty awesome. And besides, I got to see this dude play against the Surge in the semifinal game. Got to see him in person, and he's the real deal, man. So they are, at least the Vienna Vikings, it's kind of a blow for them because they're not going to have him, at least for the beginning of the season. And if he makes it through the IPP to a roster, they lost him.
Yeah. It's a win-lose situation, but it's bigger of a win overall than it is a loss. Obviously,
Right.
you know, for Vienna, you don't want to lose your best guy, but for the league, for the sport, I mean, I don't think there's a person in that club who would say you shouldn't go. I think they're all for it. That opportunity to go play in the NFL is so incredible, man. And I'm jealous of a lot of these European players that got to go play at a level that I never got to experience. And the stories that I've heard from those guys, it's such a great way to continue connecting the continents with the sport.
Yeah, like obviously, anytime this happens, it's a huge marketing explosion for the leagues and the teams. Like this kind of thing, when this happened with Moritz Benur back in the day, and I don't know if he was exactly with the IPP or exactly how it went, but it was just a huge marketing explosion for the team, and that's going to be great, especially if he makes it onto a roster. So that's huge. Congrats to him. I mean, he's got the size, man, and he's got the ability. I think he's the type that could go through the IPP and actually make one of these roster spots. So,
what question for the chat? Any Germans in the chat? What does the word Baumer mean? So I obviously know what the word beer means, but what does Baumer mean? Because I really am curious to know what that name means, actually.
There you go. Chat, help us out. Okay? Help us out, chat. So that's huge breaking news that we've got right there from Vienna. That happened. That broke like 7 minutes ago. They just announced it. The NFL did.
Wow. That's awesome.
Huge. Yeah, Baum.
Well, I knew that. I knew. Yeah, that. Dang.
Das ist ein Baum, bro.
Freaking Das ist ein Baum, man. That was like my favorite word in Germany. That was my sentence. Das ist ein Baum. I can't tell you how many people just come up to me and just say that to me. But so Florian Beer Tree, man. Beer treer.
Right.
So Florian, the great German beer treer, is headed to the NFL.
There we go. So that's our first big news. Moving on to another piece of great news. ELF announced today that the partnership with Ticketmaster is going to be extended until 2029. Ticketmaster has been the ELF partner with tickets since the very beginning. And this is obviously the central platform where you can buy all of your tickets. You can get your tickets to the ELF championship game, which is guaranteed to be another awesome event like it was last year. I'm going to that. Sweet. Saz, you got to go to that, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'll be there. We'll be there this year for sure, in one way or another. What do you think the whole deal is with always announcing that, hey, we're extending these partnerships and they're good till 2029? Like, obviously, the league is proud of it, which is why they keep doing it. Why do you think they keep doing it? What is the benefit?
I think it's just great to have. I think when you have these partnerships, especially with kind of a brand like Ticketmaster that everybody knows, it's just good to put them together. And anytime you can be associated with known brands, I would say that's why. And it's also a good sign, especially for like longevity stuff, when you've got things like this that are like lasting through 2029. Because like a big criticism people always have of the ELF is, oh, how long is it going to last? And when you see more and more things like this, like, okay, this till 2029 with Ticketmaster. Okay. I forgot when the TV one is till, I think, like 2026. These are huge things that kind of point towards, hey, this is a thing that's being built to last. And that's why I think that's my humble opinion.
Does that mean that like Ticketmaster is like giving money to the league, or it's just like, hey, we've worked out a mutual agreement of how much we're going to pay you? Is that what partnership means?
It's probably like something like Ticketmaster gets a certain cut of ELF tickets for hosting everything and providing the service, and they come to an agreement, a fair agreement that everybody's happy with. That's my guess.
Yeah.
With my limited business brain knowledge.
Well, I think either way, it's solidifying that, okay, if they're working with a big brand, like a big brand that's like, that has been in business for a long time, they have people in place to check and see if whoever they're working with is legit. And so it kind of does show, okay, they're legit. Right. If Tesla is like, hey, we're going to work with so-and-so, that they've done their research on whether or not that would be a good partnership. So
absolutely. So we've got that. And then we've got another contract extension announcement. KPro, the official supplier of the ELF, is going to be extended until 2025. Another great one. They made all the game jerseys last year, and they'll provide the game jerseys and practice wear for the next 2 seasons at least. And obviously the ELF jerseys are a pretty beautiful thing, man. Do you have a favorite team uniform?
I think I like the Ravens colors the best.
Yeah. Me too, man.
The Ravens have a really, really cool color. Paris is cool too. Those would probably be my 2 favorites. I'd like to go on record to say KPro is the best supplier in Europe, man. I wore a lot of jerseys when I was in Europe, and KPro was by far the most comfortable. John Knight over at KPro, that guy is awesome. He's from America, moved to Italy, has a great story in what he's doing for the sport and his heart behind it. I'm a full endorser of KPro, and this is not a paid endorsement, but I'm just all for that guy. I love that guy. KPro is doing a great job, and I hope that continues.
Hell yeah, man. And I'm with you. I think the Ravens are a very great uniform. That kind of like whatever, that turquoise blue with black. You don't see that so often. So I'm a big fan of that. So big shout out to KPro, keeping the ELF jerseys clean. And then we've got one more big piece of news. The Frankfurt Galaxy have announced a special stadium for their season opener in Offenbach. This is a stadium that has over 20,000 person capacity. This is for their game against the Rhine Fire. Last year, they sold out their game pretty easily with about 10,000 or so tickets at their typical stadium, and they probably could have sold more, which is why it's smart for them to be doing this for the season opener. And it's only 10 kilometers away from their regular home.
The irony of this, though, I'm pretty sure Frankfurt and Offenbach have kind of always had this major rivalry. And so the fact that even I'd be curious to see Offenbach, how they respond. Now, if this was a soccer team coming in there, I think there'd be major problems. But because Offenbach doesn't really have like an American football team, I think it might actually be good to recruit the Offenbach people to kind of become fans of the Frankfurt Galaxy. And another interesting fact about this stadium, during COVID, the arena was actually called Kommt Gesund wieder Stadion, which means like come back health, like come back.
Yeah, get back healthy again stadium.
It's pretty interesting.
Fun fact.
That is an actual fun fact. Okay, yeah, I had a story. I'm going to tell the story. Fun fact made me think of the story. One of the biggest failures or botches that I made when I first moved to Germany. So I played my first ever like football game in Germany in Nuremberg at the place where I forget the name of it, but we played this football game in Nuremberg at this place where Hitler used to give all his speeches.
Yeah, I know the place.
And I remember I posted it and I was like, fun fact to all my friends back home, like I played a football game where Hitler gave his speeches and like my German friends were like, really? Fun fact? Like that's what you decided to be? Which
maybe just fact, not fun fact.
Maybe just fact. Anyway, this is a short story of my ignorance back in the day. But
now we're older and wiser, man. Look at us now. We know everything now. Yeah, that's huge though. I mean, that's huge. They're going to play that, and obviously Rhein Fire Frankfurt season opener. I bet you that they'll sell that thing out or get damn close to that 20,000 people. Obviously, those two cities are like reasonably close too. All the Rhein Fire fans can travel. It's right there where Frankfurt is too. So that'll be a popping one.
Do you think anybody is excited about watching that game again? Like, I feel like 0-6. What is it? 0-6 or 0-7?
You know who you should ask that? Your former coach later on in the show.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I think he'll have a better answer than me.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
He'll have a better answer than me. So we've also got the schedule release. The ELF schedule release happened in the past week. And the 2024 ELF schedule. So it came out a little bit earlier than we thought. Some stadiums are not totally set for certain games. Like, for example, like we see how the Rhein Fire Frankfurt game at the Offenbach Stadium, like some teams are still securing situations like that. But for the most part, everything's set. And let's take a look at the opening weekend. A few games that be pretty – I'll tell you right now, the one that I'm going to be most excited about, I think, is going to be Stuttgart Surge and the Munich Ravens. This is shaping up to be really nice. South Germany rival that's developed in the last year or so. Which games are you excited for, Silas?
Definitely that one. That's the one that I'm most looking forward to. I think that one will be the most competitive, I think.
Yeah.
I think the Berlin and Wroclaw. I'm excited to see how Wroclaw does because we've heard a lot about them building up and they got some good things going. And then, of course, Helvetic Guard. My sleeper pick for 2024 championship.
Is that why you're wearing your guard shirt today?
I'm feeling all Helvetic Guards.
I know, Silas, that you're excited as hell about the Sea Devils versus Prague game. Come on.
That is Prague. I'll tell you what, the game that I can guarantee you I am not going to watch is the Sea Devils versus Prague Lions.
Okay. That's a Silas Casino guarantee. But I think
I can guarantee you I'm not going to watch that.
The Ravens Surge is honestly the one that I'm most excited about because I think these are going to be two of the top teams. And even just some of the stuff that I'm hearing about just like recruiting, and these teams are in the similar area, and this is shaping up to be a legit rivalry. So that's what we got. Week 2, we've got the first ever ELF El Clasico, Barcelona Dragons versus the Madrid Bravos. That's going to be an exciting one. Who do you think is going to win that game, Sean?
Where is the game at?
It's in Madrid.
Then I'm going to say Madrid wins that game. Yeah, I'm really excited about that one as well, just to see. I've always dreamed of Spanish people just fighting each other. Just like,
let me introduce you to Spanish Civil War in the early 1900s. You would love that if you're interested there. We've got also the battle for Austria. Vienna Vikings versus the Innsbruck Raiders. This is obviously a historic rivalry. Not sure yet where that's going to be. It is in Vienna. It would be awesome if they could play it at the big stadium that Vienna did their semifinal against the Surge at. That's a great stadium. So that's another one. And then, of course, we've got Rhein Fire at Galaxy in the stadium that we just talked about. Do you think the Galaxy can finally win against the Fire?
I don't even know, man. It's like, let's get a new storyline. I think I feel like that storyline has like run its course, and I feel like we've heard it like 1,000 times, and I think everybody's kind of bored with it. And If the Galaxy could ever beat the Fire, once they win, it's like, okay, now let's start talking about it again. That's kind of where it feels like.
True. Hey, we'll move on from there. Chat, feel free to let us know if you think it's possible. Right now, they're 0-6, and I don't know. It could be 0-8 after this year. But the other point that we were going to talk about is the bye weeks. So 2 key bye weeks. So this year, we're not having like the same that we've had in previous years where there's just one standardized bye week. They did that in the past because it was for players to be able to go play national team. A lot of times you got to go for a week to do national team camp and a game, whatever. This year is going to be kind of staggered bye weeks. In week 1, we've got some teams with bye weeks. Madrid, Frankfurt, and Paris are starting off with a bye. Now, Silas, do you think it's an advantage or disadvantage? And chat, feel free to jump in here as well. We're seeing what you're writing. Is it an advantage or disadvantage to have a bye week on week 1?
It's an advantage short term. It's a disadvantage long term. So it's an advantage because you have an extra week to prepare because it's not that long. The imports only get to Europe like a month, a little maybe over a month from when the first game is. So that's not that much time. It's also an advantage because you get to see your opponent and kind of prep for that because you have no game film other than that. But you can. It's also, here's the thing. It's a disadvantage into the season when you're banged up and you don't have a bye week. That sucks. Like our bye week last year didn't come till 10 weeks in or something, and I was banged up. Everybody was banged up. This league is a lot more tough. It's a lot tougher than the other leagues, right. and you need that break.
Yeah. That's a great point, is that you lose that recovery week when you have that. So it's like, all right, you get the one extra week of film of seeing everybody have to put everything on tape that week when you don't. But then you lose that recovery week, which is so crucial, especially in a league like the ELF, which is going every single week. Like it's not like the GFL that we played in back in the day where you might have 3 bye weeks in a row or something. And it's just totally different. So, well, we've also got, and chat seems to be saying disadvantage as well. And there's also a little bit of an argument going on in the chat because somebody's mad that we keep saying the Frankfurt Galaxy are 0-6 against the Rhine Fire, but they are. So
yeah, playoffs count. And in fact, playoffs are like more important.
Yeah, playoffs are worth 2. So actually they're 0-8. So yeah. Anyway, we're still moving on. We've also got week 14 bye week. So this would be the last week of the regular season before playoffs. Now, the teams that have a bye in week 14, here they are: Berlin Thunder, Rhine Fire, Vienna Vikings. These are all probable playoff contenders. These are all teams that made it to the playoffs last year, right? Berlin made it? Yeah, they did. And here is a situation where if these teams make it to the playoffs, they possibly could have 2 weeks of buys because of their built-in buy. What do you think about this, Silas? Do you like that? Do you think 2 weeks is too much off? It's hard. Do you lose your rhythm as a team?
Yeah, I think that's a little too long. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that's because you're thinking like, that's what, 21 days. If you have 2 full weekends off, right? That's 21 days.
It's a long
game
time.
to game.
Yeah.
I think that's too much. Yeah.
I agree, man. I think 1 bye week is great. You can get, unless you have like a long-term injury, you can get kind of healed up heading into the playoffs here. And so I don't love for these teams. I wouldn't be thrilled to have 2 bye weeks because you can lose your momentum. And there's something to be said for that. And so we'll see if these teams do make the playoffs. I don't know. I feel like Berlin's not going to make the playoffs anyway. But I think the Rhine Fire and the Vienna Vikings will.
Yeah. That's, I mean, there's like, I think it's way too early to tell with the teams that could be in that like 4th, 5th, and 6th spot. True. I think so much can change over the season. I think like the top 3 teams you can kind of predict are going to be there, but the bottom 3 are going to be hard.
Yeah. Well, that's our look at the schedule, the bye weeks and everything. And now, guys, we are thrilled for our next guest, or our first guest to join us today. Coach Jim Herman joining us on ELF Live. Coach, what's going on? Thanks so much for joining us.
How you guys doing?
Doing all right, Coach. Where are you at right now?
I am in sunny Florida.
There we go. Beautiful. I'm in snowy Germany right now, so I'm a little bit jealous.
I know.
I like your picture frames in the back. It reminds me of like my grandpa. If I had a grandpa, it would remind me of his house. Like you got the Sports Illustrated. Like I haven't seen a Sports Illustrated magazine in a decade. This
It's a
is
shame,
like
isn't it?
this is an epic like trophy room that you're in right now.
This is my Michigan room. So,
Well, Coach, we were just going to say that. Obviously, you went to the University of Michigan and coached there as well after playing. And Michigan just won the national championship a few weeks ago. How are you feeling as a Michigan alum?
very proud. The team played really well all the way through the season. With all the ups and downs they have with the staff and the head coach, and the kids just came out and played every single week as a team. And, that's what Michigan's all about, is playing together as a team. And they did a great job of it. And, I give them credit. There at the end, they had beat some really good teams and never flinched, went to battle, went out to the field, kicked their ass. And to me, there was no doubt in my mind they were going to win that last game.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that this Michigan team from 2024 or 2023 would rank in the top 10 of college football teams ever?
Yes. Just because, the one thing that Jim Harbaugh has done there is, in college football, everybody's going and spreading out and throwing the ball all over the place. And I think the one thing that Jim held on to was his roots, the things that I believe in football. And no one could stop him running the ball. And great offenses on the other side of the field were sitting there watching the game because they couldn't get on the field. And to me, there's a million different ways to win a football game. And to me, if the other team's offense is on the sideline, they're not scoring. And to me, they won a national championship that way. So, yes, I do. I think their defense, everybody asked me, the 2023 defense versus my 97 defense, how would they compare? I would say different era of football, but, the team we had in 97 was pretty special. We had, about 15, 16 guys that played in that season that all played in the NFL.
Wow.
And then this team, same way. I mean, they've got guys that are going to be playing in the NFL. So, it's a toss-up, but I'll give it to them. They played a great year this year.
Yeah, they sure did. They really did. Coach, obviously, for those who don't know, you've got the national championship experience with Michigan. You won a Super Bowl with the New York Giants. And now, so you obviously had a very prolific and extensive coaching career in the States. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you ended up coming to coach in the European League of Football? Did you know about football in Europe before? Can you walk us through this story of you ended up in Innsbruck, Austria for this season?
Well, you can thank my wife for that. We have traveled extensively throughout Europe. We love to travel together, and an opportunity came back in January of 21. A very good friend of mine was the head coach at the Lazio Ducks. And at the time, I wasn't doing anything, and he called me up and said, "Hey, I need some help, and would you want to come out?" And I'm like, "You kidding me?" I mean, my wife and I, we were married in Positano, Italy. So I'm like, hell yes, we're coming. And while I was there, I got to know and find out more about football in Europe. very intriguing. Now, obviously, that division is a little bit different than the ELF division, but I started to look at what's happening. I watch where the NFL is going. I've watched where football is going. The NFL, Roger Goodell is trying to grow football in this entire world, and he's starting with Europe. And you see all the games that now that we're playing, or the NFL is playing there. And to me, he sees the big picture. And as I looked at the elf sees the big picture also. Like sooner or later, the NFL is going to encompass this league also. And there's going to be a lot of talent coming out of here going to the NFL. And to me, that's really kind of intriguing for me, so that I can get in on the ground floor of that development of football in Europe. We have some guys. I was involved in the IPP program a couple years ago at a young linebacker from Mexico. And so I was involved in that. I'm very close with Oshie Umanura, who's involved in the IPP program, Matthias Kiwanuka. Those guys are with me at the Giants. And, there's a lot of talent all over this world. Maybe not necessarily have they had a chance to play football since they were 6, 7, 8 years old. But there's talent. There's talented young men all over this world. And to me, that's what excited me about the opportunity of having my own team and developing that talent and seeing where we could go with it.
Coach, can you tell me about how you just becoming the coach came about? Did you reach out to them? Did they call you? Who called you? What was that like?
I think you guys are familiar with Marcus Kuhn, yes? He does broadcasting in the United States. He played for the Giants. Mm-hmm. He's from Germany. Well, Marcus was there at the Giants when I was the linebacker coach. He was a defensive lineman, and we kind of moved him over to offense. Great kid. Loved him. Always had a smile on his face. Well, somebody had said something to me via text or whatever, and I reached out to Marcus and said, "Hey, do you know anything about this?" And Marcus said, "Coach," he said, "tomorrow the GM's going to call you." And then he hung up the phone. And then the next day I talked to Oles, and we talked for about 3 or 4 weeks. We had, extensive talks of football, program-wise, philosophy, all that. And then one day Oles just said, "Screw it. I want to offer you the job." And so the very next day, we were trying to find a time for my wife to come out there. And so finally my wife's like, "Just go tomorrow. Let's go tomorrow." And so we told Oles, "Hey, Oles, get us a ticket tomorrow. We'll come tomorrow." So we were on a plane at 6 a.m. the next morning, and we were in Austria for about 10 days. And it just went fast. And to me, it's sometimes the best way.
I mean, wow. that's a awesome place that you're going to be living in and coaching in. Like Innsbruck is just incredible, so beautiful. So I imagine that's pretty exciting to have that aspect of it as well. Coach, I want to ask you just a little bit about kind of the 2024 season and your expectations going into that with the Innsbruck Raiders. Obviously, this is a program that's been pretty high profile in the European world for quite a while, has not had the type of success that it has been expecting in the ELF yet. And one major point is the biggest rival, the Vienna Vikings. The Raiders yet beat the Vienna Vikings in the ELF era. Can you just talk to me a little bit about your expectations for 2024 and what we can expect from the Innsbruck Raiders this year?
Well, I tell you, for me, take all the other opponents out of it right now. To me, it's about developing this team. You have a lot of different factions here in Europe that you have to deal with. You have homegrowns, You have European players. You have American players. Now, you could have the 4 best American players of anybody in this league. And if they are divided and you have no cohesion between them and the homegrowns, you have no chance. No chance. And for me, after talking to every single homegrown player we have on our roster, I know we have good dudes here. There's good men here, guys who love football, who come and they want to win. To a man, they want to win. And I told them, I said, listen, my fingerprints will be all over every single American that I bring in here. And I'm not going to bring in a bad dude. I'm going to bring in guys that are like me and like you, who want to win, who know how to become part of a team, become brothers, become a family. Because if we do that, I believe this, all the other stuff will take care of itself. I believe that. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. I've been a part of great teams that had no business talent-wise winning a championship. And I've been a part of some really bad teams because of the division of people. And so my first thing is to bring the right guys in. It starts with my staff. And I'm taking my time. Everybody's like, oh, it's around. Hey, look, if I have the right dudes around me that are like me, and every single day I go into the office and I am fired up to see them and they're fired up to see me and they're fired up to go out and coach those players, okay, we've already won 4 games and we haven't even gotten on the field yet. And then if I can touch and bring the guys, the American guys and the European guys, and we've already started the European players, and I like every single one of them. And bring the right people in. I think, Silas, you even mentioned it last week in the program. Like, you got no chance if your American quarterback is a loner.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Absolutely.
You got no chance in America if your quarterback is a loner.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are.
Right.
And so I think those are some important things that I want to do when I get there and the staff comes. And I've the staff members that I have now are very excited, and we're moving in the right direction that way. So
that's great, Coach. I really like that answer. I think you hit a lot of really important points for what will bring success here in Europe. I mean, we could talk to you all day, Coach. Unfortunately, we've got to let you go now. But we really appreciate you coming on the program and talking. I know the league and every league is so excited to have a coach like you coming over for this season and all the experience and everything that you bring. And we just really appreciate you coming on, Coach.
No problem. Anytime. I look forward to meeting you guys in person. I'm not a big fan of Zoom meetings, but I know it's part of the world now.
Yeah.
But when we get over there into Europe and you guys come to Innsbruck, I'll take you out for a beer and get a chance to meet both of you.
Sounds good, Coach. Looking forward to that.
Talking.
For sure, be down there.
All
right.
Great.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye. Silas, first thoughts?
He's got it figured out.
Yeah.
There's a clear path on how to be successful in Europe.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's 2 paths. There's one where you try to show up and you focus only on trying to win football games using strategy that you had in America. And then there's another route that says, I am going to try to build a team of guys that actually want to be there and figure out how to do that. Like, do whatever it takes to inspire your players and motivate them to learn the game. And ultimately, if your mindset is focused on how can I make these players better players and enjoy the game more, then they will be better and they will perform better. But if you focus only on their performance and it's not to where it is, and then you start like switching your motivation and just like trying to force stuff onto them, then it just kind of falls apart, because it isn't the NFL where you can point to a paycheck and be like, here's your paycheck. That has to be motivation enough. That doesn't exist. And so I think he's going to do well in Innsbruck.
Yeah, man, I'm with you 100%. I was a little bit worried when they announced him as the coach, because he's such a big time, high profile coach who's coached at Michigan and coached the NFL and won Super Bowls, because I think if you just try to translate exactly what you've done in those situations to Europe, it won't work. But he obviously he understands the importance of building through the homegrowns and understands that this is a little bit of a different world. So I really liked everything that he had to say, and I think they're in great hands, man. So
yeah,
that was
speaking of great hands, I'm excited and thankful to introduce my former coach, Coach Kozling, one of the best European coaches in all of Europe. I had the privilege of having him as a coach. He was the DC when I was there. Unfortunately, because if he was my head coach, then I would have got to even have more of his coaching and wisdom. Coach, thanks for being here with us. Welcome to the show.
Oh, Coach, you might be on mute.
Are you muted? We can't hear you. The classic.
We're going to get this figured out, Coach.
The classic Zoom. This is why Jim doesn't like Zoom either.
He was onto something. Coach Jim was onto something with this Zoom stuff.
Maxie, is Coach K muted here?
Oh, we are not hearing him in the chat. Is chat hearing him?
I'm going to go ahead and do, if I was Coach K, what he would say.
Wait, give this
Silas, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I'm excited to talk to you about the Frankfurt Galaxy.
That was perfect. That's the Coach K interview we needed. Thanks, Silas. Here's at least a little bit.
Go ahead and interview me, and I'll answer the questions as if I'm Coach K.
I was gonna give you first the facts about Coach K.
Go ahead.
He's 40 years old. He played linebacker for the Universe from 2007 to 2013, and was the DC from 14 to 2029, and then he became the Galaxy head coach when they entered into the ELF. 2021 he was the first ever ELF champion, ELF championship coach.
Well, thank you very much. Now, yes, I love football. I've always loved football. And what can I say? I'm the first ever ELF champion, but my most proudest moment was coaching Silas Nasita, the greatest American import of all time. That's why we specifically didn't re-sign him the year after.
No, bro, they would have re-signed you. They didn't re-sign you?
No, they didn't re-sign me, and I know why. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I wasn't the best. Like all the things that we've been talking about, how to be a great import, I was definitely missing those in my second season. That was right around the year that I discovered YouTube and kind of got obsessed with YouTube. And I was like, YouTube is sick. And I spent so much time doing YouTube, and I was kind of a loner in my own way. Even though I was doing all these videos, like highlighting Germany and stuff, I kind of isolated myself from the team because I was so obsessed with like the culture and doing YouTube videos and all that stuff. And it did create some kind of division. And I will say, though, our offense was a lot more divided than our defense. Our defense was so good. And a lot of that has to do with Coach K, who is he back yet? Coach K, can we hear you yet? Sorry, go ahead now.
That's fascinating. I want to talk to you more about that later. But hopefully we've got Coach K.
Do we have a sound? Coach? Did you try taking your earpods off? Can you do it without your AirPods?
Yeah, try that.
Oh, I hear you something.
I heard something. No, turn the Bluetooth off your
Yeah.
computer. Bluetooth off.
Bluetooth off.
We're gonna walk you through this technical.
Wie sagst du Bluetooth auf Deutsch?
Blauzahne.
Blautzana. I keep hearing things, but
Yeah,
it's not working.
not hearing anything.
Darn. That was like,
Shoot.
we're so close. We were like so close, and we could see his face.
I know.
But
We're
hey,
not-
it's all right. It's all right. We know where he lives. He lives in Frankfurt, and we can for sure. If we can't get him on today, that's all right. But what were you gonna say, Nick?
Well, I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. About what year was that? 2018.
That was 2017.
2017. Yeah. Hey, well, YouTube was going crazy for you those years. It'd be tough to not be focused on that when you got YouTube going like that, man.
Yeah, it's just like I was 23 years old. I was
Crazy.
like so excited about Germany and the culture and all that stuff. And then even like the Frankfurt crowd was like awesome. And so I got a lot of attention, a lot of hype. That kind of got to my head a little bit for sure.
Yeah.
But also, like I said, I don't feel like we were super unified on offense that year. And I don't think I personally didn't feel like we had like the best like leader to really look to and tell us like, yo, do this. Like it was like, I remember even in 2017, like I was like, I didn't even know if I was constantly having to like fight with this guy on who's supposed to go in right now.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't have anyone stepping up and really being like, hey, like you go in. And so there was like, I remember getting into like a fight and an argument with this guy on the sideline who he wasn't even like assigned a import. He kind of was just like had joined.
Was he like one of those Americans that like lived in the area and came and joined?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that like, yeah, there was problems there. But again, like I said, I was young. I was I got full of myself, I think, in a lot of ways. But either way, I had a great experience in Frankfurt. Frankfurt was awesome. That's where I really fell in love with like doing YouTube's videos and capturing the heart of Germany.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like that we should do a podcast on all of this stuff in the coming weeks, because I know we can talk about this for hours, and I would love to. But okay, we'll save it. Yep. Oh, I just heard something. Coach Kosling.
Oh, I hear him.
I hear him.
I think we have a double. I hear my voice too.
Echo.
Coach,
do you have the YouTube open? Because if you do, you're probably going to need to mute that.
No, I don't.
Can you hear us though, Coach?
I can hear you perfectly. I could even hear you with the AirPods.
Oh,
So-
okay. Well, we've because we're a little bit short on time now. We'll just jump right into a couple questions that we have for you, Coach. What do you think about your guys' schedule? Schedules just came out in your schedule that you've really got your eye on.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we expected, right? I mean, I think we again playing a very tough conference. I mean, that's basically the life we're living here in the league from the beginning. I think every winner of this league came out of our conference. First of all, it was us, then Vienna, then Rheinfire. So we used to play the better teams, but to be honest, that makes you better and that prepares you for the playoffs. I always say, when you go through a tough conference and you qualify for the playoffs, you know you're ready to win it. If you have the easy road, maybe talking about Vienna last year, then they facing the first tough team in the semifinal, and then sometimes you're not used to it, you know. And I know you, Nick, you know it from the back in the days when you played the New York Alliance. I think you needed 3-4 games against them to beat them finally.
Exactly.
We needed 3-4 games against them to beat them. And you need that competition on the highest level. So it's a tough conference, but we're used to it, and I love it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a great point. When you have that, when you have kind of the easy regular season, like exactly what we faced back in the GFL days, it's really tough to turn it on then in the playoffs. So that's a great point. It's just the teams that come out of the Western Conference with you guys, these are battle tested teams. I think most people would say that this is the strongest conference.
Coach.
Yeah, I would say too, but I have to say the league did a really good job with the schedule. I think when you see how Berlin is playing, who Berlin is playing, and Wroclaw, they all playing the top Western Conference teams and Stuttgart. So really the conference is not really the most important thing. It's really the whole schedule that counts, because you need to have a 9-3, 8-4 season to qualify, I think.
Right.
Coach, what do you think needs to happen to finally get over that hump and beat the Rhine Fire?
Just playing hard, tough football, and then at one time it will happen. I mean, I'm not into this too much. I mean, I know when we're talking about our battles with Schwäbisch Hall, I mean, we lost every game, but I'm sure Nick and I agree there were 1 or 2 games where we could easily win it. I mean, talking about the German ball maybe, or another game. So at the end, a loss is tough and a loss is a loss, but it's not always like, wow, this team has your hand or this team always beats you. It's just be consistent in working hard, be consistent in playing tough football, and at one point you will beat any team.
Yeah, that's a great point. My question, I'm really curious about, back in the GFL days, Frankfurt would always beat those teams from Cologne or that area. Where did all these players from Rhine Fire come to make them so strong?
Yeah, I think first of all, they put together an all-star team last year. I mean, their roster was built, I don't know, in a special way, especially the O-line. And I think that was the biggest difference to any other team. This offensive line was so good. They protected Jadrian so much. He had so much time, and it was so tough to play against them for 4 quarters. So they had an edge on the maybe weakest position in all of Europe. And that was the key to them. So I would say it all started and finished with the offense line. The skill positions, in this league, every team has great skill players. I mean, of course, Rhine Fire has Tony Mahungu, they have Quofi, of course, and Pedersen. But what can we say? Stuttgart has these 3 receivers who have 1,000 yards. We had Reese Horn, Nico Straman. So that's a great thing about the league. You have so much talent, but it starts with the offensive line, and it's still going to be the decisive factor, I think, this year.
No,
Coach, big change at quarterback this year for you guys. Obviously, Jacob Sullivan out. Luke Zaraka coming up from Italy. He is in. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the thought process and the reasoning for this quarterback change? Why was it time to move on from Jacob, and why is Luke Frankfurt guessing?
Yeah. First of all, Jacob is such a great guy and a great quarterback, and we are so thankful for the time. I mean, the first championship and everything. But sometimes, I mean, it was now 3 years in a row we worked together. Sometimes you feel you maybe changed a little bit here and there. You're not totally on the same page. That goes both ways. So maybe we two are not so 100% happy with the things that working on, and then you have to make a decision. But I'm so happy that he landed in Berlin. I'm pretty sure he's going to ball out. But for us, it was time to move forward, to make a change, to go maybe in a little different direction from an offense system. What we did then was signing Markel too, to maybe be having more the stretch player with a big arm quarterback like Luke, right? So this is basically this. It's not a big point, not a drama. It's more the thing that happens over 3 years, when at one point it's like in a relationship, you maybe think, hey, let's have a fresh start and let's move on.
Yeah, that's great. Why Luke specifically?
I know Luke Longen. I think Silas, we played them 2017, right? And I cannot help myself as a DC. Whenever I played Luke, he impressed me. 2017 at Milan, I looked at tape. I watched him playing against us. I was like, this is a great quarterback. Then even this year with Milano, he was a great quarterback. He put 33 points on us. He has a presence in the pockets. He's staying tall. He has a great arm. And he has a great character. I've always been in touch with him. We had a good conversations here and there every year and talking a little bit. so it was so funny because after the decision I made with Jacob, then on the next weekend, Luke basically texted me, "Hey, what's going on next season?" I was like, "What do you mean? I mean, we have maybe an open spot," and it went really quick because I know who I get. I get a veteran quarterback, which we need in Frankfurt. I need a grown-up quarterback, and like I said, I think his skill set is different than Jacob's, but in football, and that's the beauty, you can win in many different ways. And next year the offense will be different, hopefully with a lot of big plays, a lot of long touchdowns to Markel, and that's what we try to look for.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, you got the personnel for those big plays. Obviously, with Markel Castle, one of the biggest name on offense last year, and then Luke. I mean, a great guy, like really well loved throughout the European football community. Obviously, done a bunch of great stuff down in Italy. So I'm super excited to see what you guys do in Frankfurt this year. We would love to keep talking to you. Sadly, we have to cut it short today because of our sound issues. Sadly, but really great talking to you, Coach, and good luck for 2024 for the Frankfurt Galaxy, man.
Hey, love to come back, and thanks for having me. Sorry for the problems.
Oh, good. Turns out
It's all right. No worries.
oh, great. Thanks, Coach.
We'll definitely bring you back.
Here we go. Hey, I mean, I like his thinking with the Luke Markel Castle combo, and I don't know. I think they could be pretty solid this year, man. What do you think?
I honestly think that his biggest problem is going to be getting a camera stand to hold his phone.
How is this team going to have virtual meetings?
He's like, yeah. So the reason why Luke is going to be so great.
That was tough, Coach. We're going to get somebody send Coach Cusling a tripod, please. Needs a tripod.
Somebody, I mean, Frankfurt Galaxy, y'all have had the budget. Well, somehow had the budget for things like get your man a camera stand, and get maybe an AV guy as well. But nah, man, I was disappointed that you couldn't hear him because I wanted to talk more. Like it was good. I felt a good conversation coming, and I wanted to reconnect with my old coach for a little bit. So I was a little sad about that. But I think you're 100% right. I think Luke is an excellent choice. And like you have Jacob who has like that dual threat run pass. But he is smaller. Luke is a big body presence, veteran, and like that dude can't run, man. That dude's slower than Tom Brady. So he's gonna drop back and stay in the pocket. Like he almost like doesn't have that option. You'll get one draw from him twice a game. But he's going to stand back there and make those big throws. And then the other thing and the most important thing is Luke can go to Frankfurt right now. That homie's got a passport. He can go and work with those receivers at any point. He could be year-round. That is a huge advantage, and I think that was the right decision. He's reconnecting with Markel Castle. Coach K is doing something smart.
There we go. So exciting things for Frankfurt. And now we have got our third and final interview of the day. Our third coach is joining us on the show, head coach of the Wrocław Panthers. I can never say that city correctly. Dave Christensen. Wrocław. Coach, how do you pronounce it? How do you pronounce it?
Wrocław.
There it is. Wrocław Panthers. Coach Christensen, thank you so much for joining us here on ELF Live. Where are you right now?
Phoenix, Arizona, about 65 degrees out.
Oh, there. Okay, very, very nice. I'm quite jealous of that. It's freezing here in southern Germany. Coach, obviously, pretty reasonable, successful season last year. You guys making the playoffs, but I want to even kind of go a little bit before that. You've had this great coaching career in the States, coaching for years, the high level, Division I, Wyoming, all sorts of places. How did you end up coaching in Poland? What is your story that brought you to Europe?
Yeah, it's interesting. I retired after the 2000 COVID season and played golf every day, traveled, did whatever I wanted to do. Thought it was, I'd coached long enough. It was, I had a great run, had a fantastic career. And then I was sitting home drinking coffee one morning with my wife, and I buzzed through the stuff online. I see an ad for head coach for Poland. So I said to my wife, I said, hey, you want to go to Poland? She goes, why? I said, well, they need a head coach. She said, send your resume in. I said, really? I said, it is. And I'm thinking, well, they're not even going to respond. I didn't even send a cover letter. I sent a 10-year-old resume that I didn't even check the spelling on, no introduction letter, nothing. And 3 Zoom interviews later as the head coach. So,
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
that's kind of how my story went too, honestly. Like I feel like a lot of guys go over to Europe like with I'm done coaching in the States. I don't know what the heck is going on over there, but let's just see what happens. And then someone like you who has the resume that you do has the luxury of now stepping into a head coaching position at the highest league in Europe. But I feel like that's a story for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is, and it was fun. We had a great time. We had a lot of work to do. We had to change of culture, and we're still in the process of doing that. But the kids had a great buy-in, and it put fun back into coaching again. We don't have to worry about NLI and transfer and all that bull crap that you're dealing with now in the U.S. I mean, it's the wild, wild west over here in college football. It's free agency. It's the highest bidder. That's not why I got into coaching. And so this has been just a blessing for me. Just excited to be back out there putting an organization together schematically, getting players and having a little success in our first year. So we didn't come close to what our expectation is, but I think we've had a good off season. I think we've evaluated and picked up pretty high level players. I know the players that are in Poland right now have been working out 4 days a week in training, and so we've improved those players, and we're excited about the next season.
Yeah, Coach, you said you guys you didn't necessarily meet your full expectations last year, even though you had quite a successful season, making it to the playoffs, of course. What were your expectations coming into this football season, coaching in Poland, both kind of off the field, I guess, because this is not just a new football league, but it's also a new culture for you. So did you have any expectations in either of these?
Well, to be honest with you, it's hard because, I told them when I interviewed for the job, if I don't have the support to win at all, I'm not interested. I'm not over here to explore Europe. I get to do it along the way, but man, when I'm coaching to win, period. And, if I get to see some places on a bye weekend or when we travel, great. But, I'm a football coach. I'm competitive, man. I want to win a championship. That's all that I want to do. That's what I'm driven to do. And so anything short of that, we're going to fall short of our expectations. And it was interesting because somebody put out an article that we would finish 14th to 17th in the league. And I taped that next to my desk, and I looked at that every single day, 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. And it motivated me. And I'm sure now that, we've opened some eyes, and people will probably take a little bit better notice of what we're getting done.
Absolutely, Coach. I mean, I think. Yeah, go ahead, Saz.
I was just gonna say, how is the language barrier for you in Poland? Do they speak English pretty well?
Yes, the majority of our players speak English. They all speak some English. Everybody in the office speaks English. The only one that doesn't speak English is my owner, and so they translate for me. Sometimes. You go to restaurants, they always have English-speaking waiters and English on the menu, and so it wasn't difficult at all. And a little bit of a language barrier, but not bad. We were able to communicate well, and I can guarantee you I got my point across, especially when I was pissed off.
That's international. Doesn't need a translation problem. Yeah. Coach, the schedule came out this past week. And somebody in the chat has just said that Rovslaw has the toughest schedule by far. If they make it to the playoffs this year, they'll really deserve it. Do you have any initial reactions to seeing your guys' schedule for 2024? Obviously, you pulled for your out-of-conference game. Your out-of-conference team is the Surge, who was in the championship last year. What's your thoughts about your guys' schedule here?
Well, and Frankfurt was in the playoffs. So, I mean, we play – we're going to play 8 times against playoff teams in our 12-game schedule. So great. Thank you, ELF. You know, really, I don't really care anywhere, anytime, anyone. Doesn't matter to me. We'll line up and play, and we'll be prepared and ready to play. It's going to be a challenging schedule. There's no question. You know, you got 8 of your 12 teams are against teams that were in the playoffs. And I'm sure the teams that didn't get in the playoffs are doing everything they can to make sure they're better than they were a year ago. So, you know, it's a challenging schedule. It's certainly one challenge that we're looking forward to. And, you know, we focus on one game at a time. And so, you know, we'll open up the season with Berlin, and when we get done with that, we'll get focused on the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And even that you guys have Frankfurt as well. That's you guys pulled a nice, challenging schedule for 2024, but it sounds like you guys are up to the challenge. So, Coach, you guys made it to the playoffs this year, obviously, after being picked 14th out of 17th to start the year. So some might say you exceeded expectations by some people's standards. What are your guys' expectations for 2024? You guys are making a lot of noise with some of the signings that you guys are making, signing a lot of good players, high quality players. What are the expectations for 2024? Or what can we expect from the Panthers this year?
Well, you know, obviously we talked about how difficult the schedule is. It's going to be a challenge. You know, we don't focus, on getting in and win the championship. That our number one goal in our organization is win a ELF championship. Okay, so we know that. That's a given. That's the top of the ladder. That's the ultimate goal for what we want to do. And so all we can do is prepare one day at a time, make sure that we're doing everything that we possibly can when we're together to become better football team, better football players. And so then we'll focus on 1 week at a time, because you start looking ahead, then, you know, it ain't going to matter. You're going to get your ass beat and you're not going to have a chance. So we're going to focus one game at a time. We know we have a challenging schedule, but really all we can do is look at the team that we're going to play on that particular week. And our expectations are never going to change. You know, we got in the playoffs last year, and that's good. Pat us on the back. Big deal. We lost. I want to play until I win my last game.
That's good, man. That is good stuff. I love the tenacity. I think you're right there. There is this balance between going to Europe and traveling and getting to know the culture and doing that fun stuff with I'm here to win. And I make sense why you guys went 8-4. 8-4, for those who don't know, that is a very good record in this league, especially for teams that, I mean, there are big gaps. There are big gaps. There's always been big gaps in Europe, and those gaps have always been with the German teams at the top, the Austrian teams at the top, teams like Poland, all around historically, no one's ever even heard of them. So for Poland to be 8-4 in this league last year, for those who don't know, is a really big deal. I played on a non-German Austrian team, and we went 3-9, and those 3 wins were a battle. So clearly you're doing something right over there, Coach. And I'm excited to see what's brewing in Poland.
Well, I tell you what, when I took this job a year ago, I didn't even know there was an ELF. I had to look it up online and learn about it. Okay. So certainly you would understand when I got there, the ability to sign import players, I had no clue about it. And we were late.
Right.
The season ended this year, and we got through the next month, and then we started, going after players. And, my goal was to go out and get the best players that we could possibly get that would give us a chance to compete at the highest level, that bought into our vision and what we want to do. And I think we were pretty successful at the players in which we were able to bring on. It'll be a lot different than we were a year ago. And as I said, we've improved in that area. Our local players have worked extremely hard. We're still fighting the battle of, football has only been going on, since the 90s or 80s or 90s in Poland. It's been being played in Germany since World War II. So the number of local players is not the same. And so we've got to do everything in our power to teach the game of football, bring the game of football along in the country of Poland. And then we also got to spend our time, and we've done that, in developing the players that we have to make them the best possible players they can be.
Fantastic. Yeah, and that's a great point there, Coach, is that with these homegrown players, especially in a country like Germany where it's been around for so much longer, you just have that much more development. So kind of fighting that uphill battle there. But you guys are doing an awesome job over there in Poland. Obviously, it was a fairly successful season last year, and I believe to see what you guys bust in 2024. I know I am. And Coach, thanks a lot for coming on the show here and talking a little ELF football with us.
Guys, I really appreciate you having me on. I'm looking forward to getting back over there. We have mini camp coming up in a few weeks, and then we get on with the season. It'll be exciting. The ELF is doing a great job, and it's growing. The popularity is growing, and it's just exciting, and I'm excited about our organization and our team this year.
Absolutely, Coach. So are we. Thank you again for joining us today, and good luck this year.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
See you.
You too. Bye.
Another good one, man. He's
all right.
I like his attitude.
Definitely more intense and winning focused than some of the others that we have talked to. So my question to you, Nick, which coach have you been most impressed with the coaches that we've interviewed? So that would be
it's so hard.
That's Madrid, Frankfurt, Hamburg, Rollclaw.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're even not just tonight. From all the coaches that we've spoken to so far,
all the coaches that we've spoken to. Oh, it's also Munich with Kendrell.
Oh yeah, Kendrell Ellison. Wow, man, we've talked to a lot. Who am I most impressed? That's a great question. Give me a second here. Do you have an answer?
I'm gonna go with two. I forgot about Matt from Hamburg.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say the top three. Matt from Hamburg, Kendrell from Munich, and Jim from Innsbruck. Well, Thomasula. I'm not including Thomasula. Like he won the championship. He's already. I'm talking about kind of coaches stepping in, new coaches. That's a better question.
Man, I cannot. Every time I think I'm going to pick somebody, another coach is coming right up there, and I've been very impressed with all of them. I feel like teams are really doing a good job of finding these good coaches that obviously have a lot of coaching experience, but also have the right type of attitude for Europe. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I think I'll tell you, I was the most impressed based on my previous expectations from Coach Herman because he has this crazy resume, with the national championship, playing in Michigan, all that stuff, Super Bowl title. And I thought that he was going to have the wrong mindset. I thought a coach like that won't understand playing and coaching in Europe. It's way different. I thought he just tried to one for one what he did in the States to Europe. And we talked to him today. He showed that he totally gets it, man. He totally gets it. He said all the right things, like building with the homegrown players and all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I would say that I had a little bit of a bias against a coach with such a great, crazy resume coming to Europe. And he proved me wrong. So, but every time we leave an interview with these coaches, I'm like, that seems like a good guy and a good coach. So I don't know who's going to be winning this year, man.
Yeah. They have all been good interviews for sure.
We haven't even had Jordan Newman yet. Just wait for Jordan Newman.
I've already heard Jordan. I don't need to know anything else about him. I know what he's about. Everybody knows what he's about. He's about
a top tier guy.
He's like Roby. In the words of Roby. Who? Me?
Oh, me? Felt like he's proven everything enough. Let's see. Chat. Yeah. Does chat have any takes on this? Guys, chat, if you've got any coaches that you've seen, whether it was in the interviews tonight or in previous shows, that really stood out to you guys, that left an impression with you, feel free to write us there in the chat in these last couple minutes of the show, guys. Yeah,
It's been
somebody said Rip Scherer for the Madrid Bravos. Also, yeah.
I think when I asked Rip the question about kind of essentially what's your plan for understanding the differences, I feel like I can't remember, but I don't feel like I was like, oh, he really is getting it. I felt like
Right.
he's still kind of unaware of how different it is. So I as of right now, I'm not super confident he understands these homegrown players as well. But
It's a great point.
I mean, time will tell. Prove me wrong or prove me right. Don't really matter. I'm just happy to be able to do this show, man, and cover this stuff. I think, when we first started this 7 weeks ago, it was kind of like, what's this going to be about? But it's catching on. People are checking in. They're enjoying it. More and more people are watching. And I think we're doing a good thing for the league, Nick. I think that you can be proud of yourself. And I think every time I hear these stories of people talking, the people I'm most impressed with are the ones who have some sort of interest in growing this game globally. And we're doing that. So
appreciate you saying that, Silas, and back at you, man. I think, it's pretty cool that we get the opportunity to do this and talk about football in Europe, talk about the European League of Football, the coolest league, the most professional league that's been in here since NFL Europe. So it's an honor for us to be able to do this, man. And I think, it's just going to keep growing. We're going to keep being able to talk to interesting people. Glenn Tunga is in the chat right now. He said they should do some of these coaching interviews in season. It'd be awesome if we could get some of these in season as well, to see if anybody's perspectives change,
Yeah, we should, like, the first team that just gets absolutely blown out, let's get their coach on the show and just be like, so how's it going?
So what happened last week? So what went wrong? Glenn here is calling
and just
out.
we could even replay a quote of them saying, like, we're gonna come and we're gonna be like, we're aiming for the top, like whatever, like blah blah blah, and then just be like, what?
That'd be brutal. That'd be very entertaining interviews.
American coach reacts to his statement about team in Poland, instantly regrets.
You know your title game well, man. You know your title game. You got it. There we go, man.
Back, bro.
That's what we got for you guys this week. With nice little triple header with big time coaching interviews. That was really fun. That was a fun one, Silas.
Yeah.
I have fun doing this with you every week, man. It's pretty cool. And chat, thank you guys for coming in here and watching the show with us and being a part of it and writing in the chat. It's really fun for us. Even if we're not like always reacting all the time at what you write in there, we see it right here. And it helps us steer the show as well. So we really appreciate you guys being in there and being a part of this. It's a total interactive thing. So that's all we got, man. That's all we got, huh? That's it.
That's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Truce.
Tschüss.